Everything's well.
My man, you got a cast tonight, right? We got
a
quite a few.
cast
We got
tonight.
quite a few people waiting in the green room, right?
Listen, we have a co-host, a co-host, and a co-host.
Oh, that's a first. That's a lot of question asking. Good
That's a
thing
lot
I
of
won't be
questions.
asking any. So why don't you bring in the other guys that are going to be asking questions?
All right. So we got Mr. Lanny.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, I'm supposed to ask a question?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Start formulating.
Bro, that's what you get paid for. Come on, bro.
Be asking some kind of kinky questions like what you wearing.
That's why you don't get paid much.
That's why, exactly. Underpaid. What's up? I'm C. Michael Lanning, independent artist. You can find anything I do on landingart.com. Plus, I do a little comic book with J.D. Calderon called Magi's Grace, which, I'll be finishing up the 4th issue pretty soon here. So we got the 2nd issue coming up.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's moving along a lot quicker than I thought it would. I'm like, oh, hey, that's fast. All right.
Very
That's
cool,
good.
man. Good shit.
Yeah. And the other Coco. Anyway, what's up, Tom?
That I'm unaware of.
Listen, if you're gonna be on the show, you just might as well be a Coco.
That's fine. I'm gonna just send me the proper uniform and shirt that I gotta wear.
Yeah.
Coco, whatever.
It's in
It's
the
a
mail.
very long name tag.
Yeah, it's in the mail. I dropped it off like
It just
3 days
says
ago.
Coco.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know. So Marvin,
Tom Hodges in Big Dog Inc., writer, publisher, art director, building the damn Kickstarter guy, all the ers over here.
Yes. All right, cool.
Stressor.
Yes.
Over here, outer. Yeah.
Also fantasy football winner this week.
Oh,
Winner.
damn. That's cold. That's cold.
Get him. Now it's the actual guest. How you doing, Scott?
Hey, how's it going? Am I also a co-host or am I a guest? I don't know what my role is.
You're one of the guests.
Okay, I'm one of the guests. Okay.
We have more co-hosts than guests on this week,
Scott's
but,
a
you know.
Be thankful.
Okay.
Be thankful.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think everybody could be an honorary Coco host this week. So, you know.
There you go. Fuck
Yeah.
it. We're
But
having a
Scott,
good
please
time.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Scott Harris King. I'm a comic book creator. Mostly do writing, also do some art. Currently on my 16th Kickstarter is live right now for my ongoing fantasy series Quest, but I also do ongoing series called The Crime Busters and Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam as well.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Nice.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Carl? Please
Good,
introduce
good.
yourself.
This is Carl, publisher at 24/7 Comics. We had a couple comics out. We just wrapped up another Kickstarter called Zero Ghosts, and we're going to be heading to New York Comic Con to kick it with Jay. That's the plan.
Girl.
Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm excited.
Happy Sunday, bro.
Can I do a quick plug for a sour
Go ahead.
candy that I just discovered called Final Boss? It's made with real fruits, but it's sour as shit. It just
Nice.
makes you like
Final
makes you
Boss?
smoke here. Final Boss, and every package is a different boss. And then there's like their strength in the back, but then it's all really sour. But they're made of real fruits, so it's amazing.
You know, communally, I think we could all shoot for them as a sponsor, and we spread
Sure.
the revenue right between our pages. Yeah.
I'll bring some to New York Comic Con and share the love.
Yeah, boy.
There you go.
Go.
What's up, Aaron? Aaron,
Oh,
can you hear us?
Aaron's muted.
Oh, I think you're on mute, Aaron.
Is he? I don't think so.
Hello, can you hear me?
There we
Now
go.
we hear you.
This
Hello.
damn thing, I keep hitting it. Hello, I'm Aaron. I'm the writer, creator of several comic series, Enenra, Blood and Fire, and my new one, which is supernatural horror, Amor Patris.
All right, cool. Aaron, it's a pleasure having you on again. It's a pleasure having all you gentlemen on again. All right, now listen. Here's a question that we all, some of us within this industry, you know, I guess juggle, right? So the show question: are you a hobbyist, a brokerpreneur, a pro, a semi-pro? What are you in this indie comic life? What are you, right? Because we all identify a little differently, right? Jay identifies himself differently than the way I do. Tom does, and everybody has their own thing going. So, Aaron, let's start with you.
Well, I try and be a pro, but I'm probably borderline hobbyist dabbling into trying to get into the industry. I mean, this is my 12th Kickstarter. Not all of them successful, but I try my best. So yeah, I'm hoping to get this. I would love to do this full time. Don't get me wrong, but bills have to be paid, so it's not my full time profession, but I would love it to be.
Okay, that's fair.
Don't sound like you're ashamed of saying that, brother. Don't worry about it. That's
Right.
many of us.
Right.
Don't be upset with that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, I always say that I always say what I say. I'll say it at the end, but aspiring to work at this full time is always a good thing, because I mean, it just makes you work harder and it makes you do better books. So
yeah,
and
as
that's
long
what
as
we
I'm always learning, always making new friends. With the comic industry, the community is amazing. Everyone's helpful, giving advice, whether it's warranted or not. But yeah, it's been great. I love it. I couldn't see myself doing anything else really. It keeps me busy for starters. So yeah, I love it.
All right, cool. Let's go with Carl. What are your thoughts?
Pro, semi-pro. I'm pro in the most non-political way, progressive, because I think very differently. I try to think about comics from an outside fandom perspective. So often when every move we make is thinking about, okay, like if I was a customer or a fan as of now, like what's the fastest and easiest way I could provide for that customer. So a lot of the moves that we make have been a little different. We do a lot of digital first type deals, and then we also have a lot of presence at the cons. Not unexpectedly, but then we also partner with LCSs to do like special events. So instead of just going through Diamond and doing a mass distribution, we just feel more confident when we know we're gonna make our partners money, because I feel like that's how you grow together. So ultimately, I'm an entrepreneur, so everything I do full time. So comics is just an element of what I love. So I'm happy to be in it.
Cool.
I'm loving the artwork on the wall. They look
I'm an
really
art
cool.
collector too. I love comic art. So I went crazy over pandemic. So the walls are just completely
covered.
I mean, they look
all the
freaking
time.
awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, Scott, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I would call myself a broke entrepreneur because, I'd like to. I'm a professional writer. That's what I do for my actual job.
Okay.
But I haven't quite gotten to the point where I'm like quite profitable in my comics. I know a lot of people don't like to talk specifics, but I actually don't mind doing that. So like when I first started doing the comics, it was about 6 years ago now is when I first started, like decided I'm going to do the comics. Had a lot of startup costs, things like the website and buying all the like banners and fixtures for conventions and just even like a tablet and all the programs and stuff. At the end of the first year, I was basically about $1,600 in the hole. And now 5 years later, if you don't count the cost of the art that I haven't put out yet, like that I've for stuff that's going to be next year, I'm still almost exactly $1,600 in the hole. So like all the Kickstarters I've done, if you put them together, I've actually turned a profit on the Kickstarters, but not enough to ever catch up to that initial cost. So I've been like right on the edge of becoming profitable for all 6 years, and I've never quite been able to get there. So I would say, broke entrepreneur, I'd like to consider myself a semi-pro or pro, but for me personally, until I'm actually like in the black and making money, I don't feel like I can really call myself a pro yet. But I'm working for it. That's always the goal, is to make this at a minimum like self-sustaining,
Right.
So like I said, I've been this close the whole time, but every time I almost get there, then I have next costs that come in, and I just haven't quite been able to get that thing over the top. But always strive for that.
All right. Let me tell you, Scott, $1,600, not that bad. Not that bad.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know a lot of people, that I've talked to that do Kickstarters, and they're like, 5 figures in the hole because they're like, putting all the stuff out front. So I mean, I feel pretty good about where I'm at, but it's so frustrating to be like this, like the carrot's dangling right in front of me and I can't quite
Mhm.
bite it.
Got you. No, I got you. But listen, you're still chasing, right?
Yeah.
So you'll get it. All right, Tom, what are your thoughts?
I mean, all these terms kind of have hyper specific meanings in my brain. So I kind of feel like we're all probably in some way a combination of all of them, one way, shape, or form, depending on which aspect of what we're doing you're talking about.
Mhm.
You know, I kind of consider myself a professional just because this is what I do. I don't do anything else. I write comics both for myself, for other companies, and the only other thing that I do is I sell comics, my own, and you know, just in general. So comics is what I do, one way or another. But I also definitely land in the square of brokerpreneur for sure, because you know, when you're dealing with essentially sales, which is what we do. We want to call ourselves creators, but we're all salesmen. And when you deal in the sales world, things don't always just line up and tip over properly like a set of dominoes. You know, economies change and you know, costs change, and it's wild. So while we've done well with what we've done, particularly as we're doing Kickstarters and stuff, sure, you know, my lights are on, so something's working, right? But you know, it doesn't mean that we've got, you know, new cars and you know, European winter houses to go to every winter. So you know, I definitely consider myself like a professional, but much like a lot of us, and like Scott just said, we haven't quite gotten over that big hump to really become like, hey, this is like really real now, and let's ride that wave. So
All right, fair enough. Tom, I have to say you're a very modest man for someone who owns a lake. I mean, very, very modest man.
The truth comes out.
C, how do you feel about it?
What would you say? What was the definition of, say, semi-pro or pro?
Well, a professional is probably someone who can definitely sustain themselves just doing comics. A semi-pro would probably be someone who's semi. Maybe a portion of your income comes from comics. Another portion of your income probably comes from doing something else, a day job or whatever.
Okay, I'm a casual observer. How's that? Does that work?
Okay, that's fair.
I
Fair.
You are
mean, if I get paid, yeah, that goes to my my bills.
Mhm.
I have to get paid. So
It usually goes to the next project.
100%.
yeah, pretty much. It's paycheck to paycheck, right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
how it is. So it's really hard to say, you know, put yourself in a label like that. For instance, I'm a creator. That's how it is. If I make money off of it, that works. Sometimes that does involve being an entrepreneur. Sometimes that involves being a marketer. That involves a lot of things. It doesn't even matter if you're doing books yourself or if you're doing books for somebody else. So it's really kind of a mixed bag, right? So I can't really, I wouldn't say, I think a casual observer is best I can do right now, unless you got something better. But
Well, okay, fair enough. I would probably call you a semi-pro. You know, because you do make some income. You know, doing
Yeah,
some
some.
freelance stuff. You know, I mean, you know, and you have a job.
we call it a mini pro. How's that? Just,
There you go. Fair enough. Jay, what are your thoughts?
I'm pissed off.
oh, uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm pissed off. No, because you know what? I see
Now
a
it
bunch of
heats
guys-
up.
the
Yeah, I
Jets
see a
have
bunch
been
of guys
bad
out
for
here-
decades, guys. They're not going to be better this year. Just
No, I mean,
accept
you
it
know
and
what?
move on.
You guys are out here doing it. You're making it. You're making it. You're making it. Stop belittling yourself. Really. I know a lot of the work from you guys that are coming out, and you guys put out good shit. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing Aaron's work and Carl's work. All right, Scott, I've seen yours. You guys are putting out stuff, man. All right. We're comic book creators. We have to learn the business side to keep our love of the creative side going. That's what we have to do. All right. Yeah, we got to work to keep the fucking lights on, which is something we did not expect to do making comic books. Right. But we're doing it because we love it. Is there hobby involved? Of course. That's where the love comes from. Is there business stuff involved? Fuck yeah, because you don't want to lose your shirt. This gets expensive, right? And you got to learn how to manage people, and you got to learn social skills, and you got to become a song and dance man. And for everybody who hates Stan Lee, right, and talks about how much of a dog he was to Jack Kirby, it bothers me because most of us are falling into the role of Stan Lee being that carnival barker. You know, so I mean, you know, I'm not trying to bust on anybody to say take pride in what you're doing, because if you're doing it, that's where the fucking pride is, right? But don't be so humble, fellas and ladies who are watching too.
Yeah,
Don't
but
be so humble, man. People would kill to be in our seats.
But Jay, that's not the question. The question is, how do you see yourself in the
How do I
industry?
see myself? I see myself as somebody who's not in a box, right?
Okay.
Once we label things,
I like the stuff behind you.
unlike all of that stuff, behind me, right? Once we start to compartmentalize things and place them in a column, right? We start to mess up our own heads, because at the end of this, we're creatives, right? We had to learn the business side, but we went into this with a love of creative aspects, and to put ourselves in a column, like it defies that creative logic that's floating in our head, right? It'll restrict us from saying, oh, well, I can't do this because I'm this. Fuck that. Make your fucking book. Be happy you're making your fucking book. All right. And shout it from the motherfucking mountaintops that you made your fucking book. And if you lost money, don't be ashamed to say you lost money. I fucking lost money. Right? I've got beat over the head by other collaborators who've never turned in fucking projects, but I got one hell of a fucking catalog, and I'm happy for that.
Okay, so you're a brokerpreneur. Okay.
Oh, I'm not a brokerpreneur. You know what? Would a brokerpreneur try to hawk fucking Wild Bill soda on your show? And if we're Comic-Con people, we all know how fucking much Wild Bill loves to be on the goddamn convention circuit, right? Let's see if they can get them in there.
Are you are they paying you for that?
No, but maybe you could fucking get paid. You know, shit. Carl brought up some Final Boss gummies. Let's get that fucking money, bro. Let's get that money. Makes it go from brokerpreneur to, you know, somebody who becomes a moneypreneur. I don't know. All
right. Well, all right. For myself, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm a hobbyist, right? I worked as a professional in the 90s. I did it for 2 or 3 years as a writer. I did it. You know, hate pitching to editors. Do this for fun. You understand? It's all about the love for me. You understand? It's not about anything but that. If I make money, whatever money I do make goes right back into the project. You understand? That's what I mean by a hobbyist. You understand? Is like whatever I make, as much as I make, goes right back in. If I make, I made a decent amount of money last year doing it. You understand? I mean, but it all went back in. You understand? Every dime of it, and then some. You know, so it's not like I look at it like this. It's like, you know, I don't know if any of you have any rich friends or just someone who's doing well and they play golf, right? It's $20,000. It's $20,000 for a good set of golf clubs. If you go to if you're a member of one of these golf places, that could be another $20,000. You know, just to be a member of the golf course, right? It's expensive. Yeah. Same thing. Same exact thing. Right. So I'm willing to, you know, those people willing to spend that there. I'm willing to spend that here. That's the only difference. And I don't ever say that to disparage anybody. Like, you know, be a professional. Definitely. You understand? Aim to make as much money as you can. Trust me, if I was making 5 times what I'm making now, there might be somewhere in the area of where I might be able to quit my day job, right, and feel safe. You know, because the thing is I wouldn't leave it without, I mean, I have to be making like 4 or 5x. Yeah, no, it's like 10 times. I'd have to make like a huge sum of money for me to feel safe leaving my day job. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. They said that it's best to save up a year's income, but I'm like, golly, that's even that.
No one can do that. That's insane. Who can save up a year income?
No, there was one. I took 2 years off from work. I saved up about $80,000, and I burned through that. Like, I mean, I had to go back to work. I was broke.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I had that 80 in cash, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun those 2 years. I traveled all over the place, and I had a business where I was a broker, and so I was running a business, and I still managed to break myself financially without having a day job. So, but I had a lot of fun those 2 years. So,
Live the
it was
dream.
good. Yeah, I tell everybody, if you can take a couple years off from work, or at least a year, do it. Do it. If you can save that money, do it. Jay, you're on, man. What's your question?
All right, quickly, by show of hands, how many people have a tax ID number for the comic book work that they do? Tom? No, not Tom.
Well, I mean, we all have a tax ID number. It's,
Okay. Guess
we have
what?
social security numbers, that kind of stuff. It
Yeah.
depends on how you're set up. If you're set up with like
Yeah, I'm set up
LLCs
as
and
an
all that kind of crap, you have a different number. If you're doing
Right.
sole proprietorships, you do it a different way.
All right, tax ID number, LLC, right, or sole proprietorship.
Right.
Mostly, see, I don't know, you're behind the paywall there.
Well, no, I don't. I'm not into. I don't make enough to corporate. to
Well, so he's
incorporate
an
right
artist.
now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
guess what? Guess what? You're a fucking business. It's that simple. It's that simple, right? If you got to file a separate tax component at the year for the comic books that you're making, you're running a business. You're running a business. And the United States, right? To keep a business running.
You are
No, you have to show- Stop. My turn.
You're
Stop it.
splitting your hair. Go ahead. Go.
All right. You only got to show
Okay.
profit once out of every 5 years, 2 out of every 10. How many companies in the state do that? What is separating us from saying that? Right? I saw a lot of humble guys here with that answer. And it's like that bothers me, man, because I see you guys winning as me winning too, man. I do. So why are you scared to think that you can do more than you're currently doing?
All right.
I guess my question to that is, why do you think that any answer that we gave wouldn't give you the impression that we were scared?
Exactly.
Okay, scared. Okay, maybe I used the wrong word. Excuse me. All right, but I heard a lot of humble answers. I did.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, I don't want to be cocky and say like, "Oh, mine's the best."
No, but we don't have to be cocky.
Well,
You know
no,
what I
I'm the
mean?
best,
You don't
Aaron.
have to
I'm the
be
best.
No, that's me. Sorry.
You know,
I'm the best.
and
I'm the
and
best.
and
Listen,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to take your question. I'm going to run with it. Here we
go
go.
for it. Babe.
Okay. I know full well within myself that I can do more. Why don't I do more? Because I'm lazy as fuck.
Okay.
That's it. I'm lazy as hell. And we've talked about this kind of stuff on these shows before, particularly within like marketing and promotion and all that kind of stuff, because it takes a tremendous amount of effort and work to kind of really drive yourself
The
out
grind,
and,
yeah.
and into particularly getting into new places. Like we all get together and we do this on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and we talk to a specific group of people, but to drive yourself into new places and get yourself in front of new eyeballs is a lot of work. And when like in my situation, Big Dog Inc. is me. Like I'm writing the books, I'm editing I'm not editing, Carrie edits, but I edit the art. I get all the art guys together. I'm building the Kickstarters. I'm shipping the books. Like I am Big Dog Inc. So for me, the let's do more part is simply I'm tired as hell at the end of the day, and I don't want to do more. So I kind of let that stuff happen organically. Like people will just reach out to me like, hey, I saw you on JD's show. You want to do my show? Yeah, I'd love to do your show. Let's go do your show. Or Comic Cons will be like, oh, hey, we saw you're doing these cons. Would you want to come do our con? Yes, of course. Let me do your con. So I kind of let it be grassroots growth versus like hardcore, I'm walking down the street and knocking on doors kinds of stuff. But I fully recognize that it's a laziness factor. It's a comfort factor, maybe is a better word, is I'm comfortable where I am. I know that what I'm doing is working and I can see at least small elements of growth, whether it's through backers or, like we just did Baltimore Comic-Con, which was fantastic. So as long as I can see these little sort of trails of growth, I'm not sitting there going like, let's flip that switch and put it on, 0 to 60 right now. So that's for me.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's a slow growth medium. I think even for me, the first couple of years, we raised some money, we went out and did some serious marketing, was investing in a lot of technology, trying to build a reader tool, and I just realized, the comic book medium takes a lot of grassroots effort. You really have to go and like shake hands, connect with people, find the real fans, like get a community going. You can't do that overnight. And I think you see a lot of these companies come out, they raise a ton of money or they spin off of a bigger company and they crash and burn and they run out of money. And I think often it's because they're thinking very short term and thinking they could disrupt it. But I was guilty of that, right? I was guilty of, burning through a lot of cash from my team, like really trying hard to disrupt it. But the engagement factor is so key when it comes to bringing the community on board that it just doesn't happen overnight. And so I think it's definitely more of like a slow burn. We've kind of downsize our team to be more of like a bootstrap team, and everyone is paid enough to make good enough living, but we're also not like trying to do too much too fast. Like we're planned out like 2-3 years, and we have enough content produced for the next 2 to 3 years. So I do feel like it's a semi full-time job, but it's really hard. Like I'm super ADD. I like to do a bunch of stuff, and so I have to do like 3-4 things as an entrepreneur, or else I'm just gonna get really bored and drive myself crazy. So I think the comic book medium is just a unique place right now, at least for now. It might change because things are showing. There's like more audiences coming on. I think I meet more young people that's interested all the time. So hopefully we start telling stories that they want to engage with and can grow as an industry.
Okay.
Scott, you have any thoughts on that?
Which part? Well, I mean, like to follow up on what Tom said. I mean, for me personally, like that I can't do anymore. There's things I can do differently, but like he was saying, it's so much work that like earlier this year, I kind of, after the last issue, Quest 3, I kind of hit the wall. I had to sort of take a little bit of a break because I was just running myself into the ground doing so much. I mean, for me, I do everything myself. I don't have a team. I don't have anyone that I work with. Anybody that works with me is someone that I hired to do like artwork. So I'm running everything myself, and I just kind of burnt myself out. So, I'm always looking for things I can do differently. But I realized earlier this year that there's only I can only do so much, and I kind of hit that wall. I know Jay was clearly upset about us answering your question, but for me personally, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with saying I'm a broke entrepreneur because the goals that I have are to make money. My number one goal is I'm a storyteller, so I want to make the comics and tell these stories and share them with people. But by making money, it allows me to put out more comics and tell more stories. So I'm always trying to do that. It would be nice to grow it to the point where can do it full time or part time because I'm a freelancer. But I don't think that it says anything about any kind of being too humble or lack of ambition or anything to say that. It's just a matter of, that's just the step that I'm at right now. So I don't know. I feel like my comics are good. I feel like they're well written, at least since I'm a writer. So I'm not too humble about that part. But about the questions about where I am in the industry. So in the industry, I am where I'm at.
That's fair. Aaron, you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I do my best. There never seems to be enough hours in the day, working full time. Got bills to pay. This is a side gig, a hobbyist. I would love to make money off it, but I love creating. Comics is a great. I do write novels on the side, but it takes forever to finish a novel. So comics are very more, easier to kind of get out there to readers. So yeah, I mean, I would not be here without Kickstarter. Full stop.
Oh yeah.
I could not afford to do this on my own. So backers, legends, I cannot do without you. So yeah, it's difficult, especially like Cole said, getting new audiences, new readers. I mean, I haven't done any cons yet, so I'm planning on starting my first one next year. Purely because my previous job, I wasn't paid if I wasn't working, so I couldn't go and do anything. But now I've changed my jobs, I can actually have holidays, so I can actually go out and do stuff, which is really exciting. So Nashville is my first con next year. That's what I'm
Nice.
looking forward to. Yes. So
Where are you based out of, Aaron?
I'm in Kentucky,
Okay.
in a little podunk in Mayfield. My wife just gave me the finger.
It's her hometown.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be sleeping on the couch tonight, bro.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Luckily, we've got a bed on the couch, so I'm okay.
People in rural America don't like their places being called podunks. So
It is in the middle of nowhere.
no,
Literally, there's the middle of nowhere. So
trust
it's
me, my sister lives in a place in Maine like that.
but it's nice. I mean,
Yeah.
the area is quiet. What? I'm being kind.
Listen, I've been to Kentucky. It's nice.
Yeah,
Very
it's nice. And the summer's hot as hell,
Yes.
but it's nice.
All right, Mr. Lanning. Before Aaron gets himself into any more trouble, do
Yeah,
you want to?
please save me.
Do you have anything to add?
No, the thing about it is, and I kind of don't want to play this like a card game,
Mhm.
but there are certain things that I'm working on that I have to get out first. Like I want to finish what I'm dealing with Magi's Grace.
Right.
But then I've got other things lined up that I want to move into because in all honesty, I don't want to do sequential commission work.
Mhm.
I don't. If I do commission works, I'd rather it be, character designs, things of that nature, because I didn't get into comics, in all honesty, to tell other people's stories. I got into it to tell mine. And I've got a lot of work to do on that front end, but I have stuff that I've already committed to do first. So like I said, the thing is where I'm at now is what I'm looking. That's why I said casual observer, because I look at what other people are doing and trying to understand when I finally push how to do that. That's the thing. So, and who knows, maybe then I'll be a brokerpreneur. We'll find out. That's what I aspired for.
Mhm. Nice. Now, I
Steps,
mean,
baby steps.
yeah, baby steps, exactly. You got to crawl before you can run, right?
Right, exactly.
Listen, even Todd McFarlane was a brokerpreneur for a while.
Yes, he was.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
Yes,
So-
he was.
Now,
And then he got sued and was a brokerpreneur again. Made money, got sued again.
But he keeps climbing.
That's how it is. You get smarter, entrepreneurial life, man. Like the
Yep.
ups and downs just gets
Yeah,
bigger
man.
and bigger. The bigger swings you get, that's just the nature of it.
yeah.
It's,
Now,
you
now I
can't
think
get
that,
numb to it. You get numb to it.
I think he has enough money that he can be sued, pay it off, and just keep going, and it doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of toy companies done really well.
All right. So I think on my seventh campaign for the year for Oswald.
Good shit.
I have two
Nice.
campaigns on my other account, one for Magi's Grace, one for Dreamweavers, and I think I did another two campaigns, or I'm part of another two campaigns with Daphne on Tall Tales. So yeah, I don't think I can fill my calendar anymore, right? I mean, I can't because I have, and I'm doing more. I will complete this campaign, which I just started on Friday. I'm running it for 16 days. I got another campaign ready to go right afterwards. Magi's Grace is probably going to start issue 2 end of October, right? So, I don't know who you're talking to about not doing enough, because I do enough.
I'm not gonna blow you up, but okay.
Blow me
you
up
do
how?
know.
What are you going to say?
No,
How many
we-
campaigns have you done this year, buddy?
We've had, you know what? I'll tell you this. I ran 5 campaigns this year, and I failed at 3 of them. Fuck it. I'm not
Damn,
ashamed to
fine.
say
There you
that,
go.
right? I'm not ashamed to say
Yep.
that.
Hey, let's have that
2 years
discussion,
ago.
Jay. Have you
Well,
have you figured out what's the maximized what's the maximum number of campaigns you could do that can all be successful? Because that was always my gut. Like I always feel like you have to feel it out, and I feel like if you don't put enough space between campaigns, it's really hard to.
No, but Pat Shand at one point was doing what, 3 or 4 campaigns a month?
Yeah, it's I
Three
don't
or
want to
four
say it's well,
Holy
he has multiple accounts, multiple
Right.
companies that he does. He
Got it,
would do some
okay.
overlapping with different companies, and the brands were completely different.
Completely different.
I mean,
yes.
completely different. So
okay.
he was basically a marketing to 2 separate audiences at the same time.
Got it.
But even without the overlap, he's basically doing a campaign every month. And so it really, again, I don't want to say it's irrelevant how often you do them, but you know, in the context of comic books, we all understand monthly comics, right? Batman comes out every month, Wonder Woman comes out every month. So like, it's not really that far of a stretch to be like, what if I did an issue every month on Kickstarter, or at least every 2 months?
Right.
You know, go bi-monthly just to give yourself a little bit of a cushion. It really just comes down to, can you build an audience that wants the product every other month? And if they do, then they will come back every other month. And then, of course, you can build on that. If you're consistent with it and people are happy with the product, you can build on that. That's what Pat did. Is, you know, he had a few things that he was doing, and then he did a few other things, and he just kept going and going and going. And he grew the audience for all of it. Now, the stuff that he does for Cheeky Comics does wildly better than what he does for just, you know, his fantasy superhero, you know, whatever else he does, because he's tapped into that market, and they come racing for him. But all the other stuff he does still does really well, you know, within its own, you know, context as well. So it's just a matter of, I think, people buying into what you're making, whatever it is, and then you being consistent in the production and fulfillment of it to keep them happy and engaged, to be like, oh, I got this book, here comes another one. Carissa Grant does the same thing. She launches a book at least every other month, if not sooner. You know, we'd have to talk to her about what sort of growth. I know she's seen like kind of spikes and stuff. We'd have to talk to her about what her success rate is, but she's clearly just like, yep, as soon as I do one, I launch another one like 3 weeks later. So she's okay with that. Her fan base seems to be okay with that, because she seems to have some consistency with it. And you know, that's it.
Yeah.
It does help having the comic finished when you
Yeah.
do the
Sure.
Kickstarter.
Sure.
I can't afford to do that, so I usually do 10 to like 15 pages for issue 1, and then launch it. So you have the actual look of the book, the internal pages, and then after that, I can't afford to have the book complete and just sitting there. So I have to launch it and then use the funds to then pay the artist. So between the like launching it, getting the money from Kickstarter, paying the artist, getting him, you're looking at like 3 to 4 months before I even maybe get even the artwork. So I can't do it one after the other, after the other, after the other. I'd love to. It's just I can't. It's not feasible for me. So I have to kind of do it like maybe one every 6 months.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yes.
I'm serious. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, sometimes that's just the model you just have to work. It, like you said, until you get to that point where you have enough cash that you can push it to that, you know, to do the little extra on the next one.
That's you know, that's what I'm hoping, because Blood and Fire is doing really well with Diamond and the publisher, Red 5 Comics.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that when Ice and Bone is finished, you know, that's going to be a whole series that could be out there and making, you know, giving me royalties that I can then feed into future projects that maybe allow me to do like one complete issue, launch it, and then, you know, kind of sustain it that way. But at the moment, I just, not feasible at the moment, but I'm working on it.
No, you gotta keep working at it.
You don't stop. You know?
It's a quest, right, Scott?
Damn right.
There you go.
Yeah, you got it. It's a quest. Here we are.
That's how it's nice how he led into that.
Yeah, it's a great transition. I love it.
All right. So Scott, please walk us through this.
Sure. Well, this is my epic fantasy series Quest. As you can see, it says right here, it's a ragtag band of heroes thrown together by fate who are charged with impossible quests to save their doomed world. It's basically my love letter to Dungeons and Dragons
Nice.
and Bronze Age sword and sorcery comics. Conan the Barbarian, Warlord, Red Sonja, like all the stuff that I loved growing up as a kid. I've put into this. It's an ongoing series, and it's designed to sort of feel like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So every issue, there's going to be different dungeons and monsters and stuff like that. And then we'll see the characters sort of level up as they go. They'll be, doing more, difficult monsters and stuff like that. Basically, they're trying to go through 1,000 miles of wilderness to deliver this relic to this mysterious place. On the screen there, we're seeing one of the variants that I do. Every issue I do the tabletop RPG edition. The variant covers, they look like the old D&D modules from the 80s, but also this edition has 8 bonus pages of gaming supplement material in the back with the rules for how to play the world from the comic. So after you read the comic, you can actually play the story from that issue in your own home game if you like Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
Ooh.
And this is issue 4. I'm hoping after issue 6 I'll be able to collect it into a trade, but it is ongoing. I just, like I said, it's everything that I love about fantasy stuff. It's just been a blast to do this. It's something I've always wanted to tell this sort of fantasy story. I first started coming up with the basic idea for this and some of the characters way back in the 90s, and so it's been a long time sort of developing to get to the point where I'm able to actually do it here.
Very nice. Very nice. So, all right. So obviously you said at issue 6, you're looking at a trade, but is this a longer series or, or 6 issues?
No, it's definitely going to be longer. Yeah. I'm not quite sure how long it's going to go. We're going to see, because the more I get into it, the more I sort of want to get into like the backstory of the different characters. It's a very harsh world that they're in. So we've already had by this point several characters have died, and this issue 4 we're introduced to some new characters that are coming in and joining the group. And so I kind of want to get more into the story of the characters so that it means a little bit more when some of them sort of sacrifice themselves or get killed along the way. I do a bunch of different variant covers here, and one thing I do that I don't see a lot of other people doing for whatever reason is I'll do a series of variant covers. So every issue I have the RPG edition. Every issue I have the cover that looks like the Bronze Age covers from the 70s. Every issue I do one that looks like the book covers from the old TSR Endless Quest, Pick a Path to Adventure books. So I have people that come that are reading the whole series, but they'll just get whichever of those variant ones every issue that they want. So they can kind of customize their collection as opposed to like a different random variant every time. I like to do the series of them. And the big thing that I do is like a lot of these I do because I want them in my collection. I'm a big collector of back issues. My guiding light is I do the things that I love and that I'm interested in, and hopefully, people see that passion and they'll also sort of share that interest. So for things like that, the 5th anniversary variant cover there that we're just looking at, that they look like the Marvel 25th anniversary covers. That was one where I was just like, I've been doing the comics for 5 years, and I grew up, in the 80s with those 25th anniversary covers. So I just want to do it for myself. And people seem to respond to that.
Cool. Very nice. So are you one of those cruel dungeon masters who relishes in killing his role players?
No,
Is there another kind? I'm just wondering.
So, I used to be a dungeon master back in the 90s, but I actually prefer to just be a player. In terms of the comic, though, where I'm writing it, it's a harsh world, but I'm trying not to be too cruel to my characters.
Right.
I don't want it to be like, not to get too meta, but like in modern comics, the last 25 years or so of superhero stuff, I actually hate it when things like the Marvel zombies, where it's just like, hey, all the characters you love, what if they all were horribly murdered every issue? I hate that sort of thing. So when I'm writing this, I'm trying to be respectful of the characters. If a character dies, I try to do it in a respectful way. It's not just like, murder porn. That's not what I'm interested in doing. So I try not to be too harsh, but it's a world where I want you to get attached to the characters, but when you do, there may be some tragedy along the way.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I mean, you are what? You got 19 days left to go.
I'm just over halfway. I'm about 52%, 51% funded right now.
You got 71 backers. I think you're well on your way. I don't think you're gonna have a problem closing this out successfully.
Yeah,
So-
it's been going pretty well. I mean, I've definitely noticed this year in general, but this campaign and specifically, a much higher rate of digital backers than I've had.
Mhm.
Like over the last 5 years, I tend to average about 35 to 40% digital. Right now with this campaign, I'm at about 56% digital. So, of course, that means that I'm having a lower average pledge level. So I need more backers to get to the goal.
Right.
But, it also means that I'm trying to add more and more sort of digital rewards and digital add-ons, because I'm getting, sort of having to shift what I'm doing a little bit, because I want all the people that are backing it to have the best experience. So if I'm having more and more digital backers, I need to find more cool digital rewards so those people have a good experience.
Yes, definitely. I mean, something weird that's been working for me. I can only speak for myself, but all the alternative covers I put into like a higher tier bundle. So like you can get the digital book plus all the covers digitally, and I charge like a premium for that, and that works.
Yeah, one thing I've sort of perhaps been a little too generous in the past. So a tricky part for me of doing that is I've always added those in for free.
Right.
And like had a lot of sort of free digital bonus rewards that everybody gets. So I'm hesitant at this point to sort of take that away from people that are expecting to get it. But we'll see. I'm thinking about like what I can do. But things like the audio commentary tracks, I always do one of those for free, and a bunch of stuff like that. And now I'm thinking, well, I'm kind of giving it all away, but that's okay too, I guess. I mean, to want to feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Right. Sometimes don't be shy about either pulling back or maybe adding an extra couple bucks to a level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like instead of charging $10, charge 12. You know what I mean? It'll pad it out a little bit. You'll see, especially over the course of time.
Yeah.
So here we go. Aaron,
Yeah.
you want me to play this video?
Sure, you can do if you want.
All right, cool.
Cool.
All right,
Power of PowerPoint.
nice. All right. So Aaron, walk us through this. What do we got?
Amor Patris is my kind of tribute to all supernatural horror. So if you like The Nun, The Conjuring, Exorcist, it's very heavily kind of influenced. Starts with a small town sheriff gets called by dispatch just as he's about to enjoy a nice six-pack. That there's a disturbance in like a local farm, so he has to go and investigate. And what he finds is just madness, death. Well, he starts to investigate what happened there, and it kind of leads him to a father and son who are performing unsanctioned exorcisms across the US. And it implicates the Vatican and its practice rights of exorcisms. So it's each issue will get like a kind of like there is The Nun. It's like a variant cover. So each issue is gonna have a film inspired variant cover. So the first issue was The Exorcist. This one is The Nun.
Nice.
So Hernan's amazing with the internal artwork. His use of shadows and is amazing. So he's got the feel down for supernatural horror. So it's really, really cool.
All right, cool. Now, is this like is each issue like its own story, or is this like an overarching?
It's a full arc.
Mhm.
So it's 10 issues in total. They're all complete, ready to go, script wise. But like I said before, I can't afford to have the issues all just sitting and collecting dust.
Right.
So the Kickstarter does fund the artwork, so it takes a little delay in getting it to the backers, but they will get it if it's funded or when it's funded.
Gotcha. All right, that's cool. I mean, okay, you said so this particular arc is 10 issues?
Yes, 10 issues.
Right.
So it's the first. This is the second issue, so it's you just kind of getting to know the characters. You know, you just see you get to glimpse of what happened in the farm, and then it kind of branches out from there, following the sheriff as he investigates the what happened really. So no spoilers.
Right, no, of course. All right, cool. I mean, where did you find your artist? 'Cause this is an interesting art style.
Yeah, he actually did a couple of variant covers for Blood and Fire and Ice and Bone. Hernan Gonzalez, he's amazing. So yeah, I kind of brought the idea to him after the variant covers been amazing, and he like jumped at it. He's been very helpful. Very few go backs at all, really. So it's very quick. So yeah, it's been amazing. Can't fault him enough. Can't fault him at all. So I'm really looking forward to working with him again on this next issue.
All right, cool. Were you raised Catholic?
No, I'm not very religious. My wife was Catholic, so she hasn't seen this.
You're still gonna end up on that couch, bro.
We'll find out. We'll find out you stay married next time we talk.
Yeah, she doesn't read any of my stuff. It's not her cup of tea.
Gotcha. All right.
Is it Southern Kentucky or
nothing? I love you.
There we go.
I know that feeling.
Now it's about to get interesting.
Oh dear, I'm in deep shit.
Oh, sorry, Eric.
Well, welcome to the club, buddy.
It's all your fault. I'm getting forced.
Sorry.
I'll still make comics though.
Yes, please. All right, cool. I mean, you're 57% of there. You got 3 days to go, so you got a lot of hustling to do.
Yeah, that's my concern. It's a long way to go and not a lot of time left.
Yeah.
What are you doing to market right now?
Lasting previous backers, sending it all out on Instagram, Facebook, you name it. I'll try it, getting onto as many shows as I can. Nothing seems to be happening, really. I'm not sure if it's just not hitting the right audience at the moment.
Did you run it for, is this a 30-day campaign, 21 days?
Yeah, 30 days.
30 days? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
So any advice will be more than welcome.
Just yeah. I mean, I don't think.
I mean, at the moment, Facebook has just been dead. I mean, you
Right.
put it out onto
Wow.
there's nothing. There's no
interaction. Yeah.
feedback. Nothing. I mean,
Mhm.
Instagram has been very few and far between. It just seems to be the same people liking it.
Right. Have
yeah,
you
that's
tried?
why- yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different world, but like I said, I got friends that swear by Reddit.
I've not tried Reddit.
Yeah, it's hard though. It's really hard. You kind of have to like be part of the community, or else they're not gonna accept you or engage. But if you can, try to have some presence on Reddit, because from what I hear, people are very supportive there. Although I haven't been successful there. We've tried to run a few AMAs, and we barely had like 5 or 6 questions. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot to like work the Reddit crowd.
Yeah, you got to actually engage. Like you got to like join a group, be in that group, and then read it daily, and then maybe answer 1 or 2 questions a day.
Nobody's got time for that.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. But you still, I agree with you, Tom. But but it's still, it's that thing. Like we want to do it, but how the hell can we do it?
I mean, I'm in like 3 like Facebook group chats, and I barely keep up with them.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like I blink and there's like 300 messages. Like I can't scroll through all that stuff.
Question for you: when you're doing your Instagram stuff, are you doing videos or are you posting like images?
Better both. Most of it's images.
I was just wondering because I've been doing videos and I get nothing at all on Instagram.
Yeah.
However, I figured since I'm already recording those videos, I started putting them on TikTok. And I get way more views and likes and comments and interaction on TikTok. It hasn't really resulted in any backers yet, but I'll put a video on Instagram and it'll get 23 views. The same one on TikTok, I usually get between 600 and 800. So
there's way more real algorithm with TikTok. You will get views, but it's very similar to most of these other places. You're still not going to get comments. You're still not going to get clicks. It's I won't say you won't get any, but you will see. Like I post stuff on TikTok and I'll get like 800 views on it, and it just doesn't amount to anything. But views are always good if people are actually seeing you, and you are, again, it's consistency, repetition. It's like, oh, there's that guy again. There's that guy again. There's that guy again. It could over time, grow into something. But TikTok is the only sort of true open algorithm-ish social media platform. It gets ragged on because people are like, oh, there's just like dancing girls, and like, yeah, of course there's dancing girls there, but there's people that are, literally doing art on there, like live stream, kinds of art. Steve Rude does stuff on there. A lot of my guys that I work with Big Dog Inc., they do stuff. Source Sung's on there, and Jesse Witchman, whatever. And they're not doing any sort of like viral insanity on TikTok, but you can see that they're getting views to some capacity, and that's has to be kind of where it starts, is just knowing that you're being seen, and don't worry about the like button or the love button. Just watch the views climb if you can make that happen, because we don't get to see that really as much on a lot of these other platforms. Is how often have you been seen? It's always just what's the reaction button, and that's kind of misleading.
I think my next thing is going to be a cat feet on OnlyFans. So I think that's going to be the, what are you talking about?
What pays the bills, man?
Exactly. My cat is the one that's going to be on the screen, not me.
I'm not. You know what? It's not that you're putting it up. It's that's a thing.
Everything is a thing, Jay. This is the part that people really seem to miss. Everything is a thing. You just have to get your thing in front of the people that like the thing.
Yep.
Well, I'm missing out. I've got 2 cats. That's 4 feet, right? 3 each.
Yeah.
I'm missing out on 8 feet.
You got 8 of them, exactly. Carl, what are we looking at here?
This is our website, man. We're slacking a little bit. We just finished our Zero Ghost campaign. I think it was probably about 30% less than our first campaign last September. I think the economy stuff. So I think a lot of folks were canceling leading up to the campaign, which is weird. But momentum-wise was pretty good. But this is this is basically our website. We, like I mentioned earlier, we were trying to build like a tech reader, which there's a sense of one if you click on comics, but I don't know if it even works right now. But currently we are about to launch our web store. And so when we launch our web store, the hope is to be able to get folks to buy directly from us, so we're not so reliant on the Kickstarter campaigns. But curious, I see some of you guys have your web stores as well. When you guys do your Kickstarters versus having your web store, like how much traffic and revenue do you guys see from your web store that follows up after the Kickstarter campaigns?
Do you want to know something funny? I've had a web store for all 14 years of my existence in comics. And I still have people that have collected from me for years upon years upon years that when I tell them I have a web store, they're shocked. And I'm like, yo, I mean, I can only tell you guys this stuff so many times. Like, here's the store, go to the store. Like, it's at bigdoginc.com. It's in our comics. Like, go to the store. It's crazy. It's so crazy. But I don't get a lot of necessarily like surge in terms of the campaigns. But I mean, even my web store sales will go through wild waxing and waning. Like, I'll go a whole month without a sale. And then all of a sudden the next month it'll be like, I'll do $1,000. I'll be like, what just happened? Like, where did that come from? And I haven't been able to figure out where it comes from. It just kind of seems like a lot of it is the same people. So I think a lot of it is just simply like people have saved up some money and they want to buy some books. Boom, there it goes. Because I don't really like, I don't think that I don't really like heavily advertise that it exists, but I know I tell people all the time, even when I'm at cons, like I'm like, this is a small portion of what we have. You guys should go to our website and see what else is there. And occasionally from that, I will come home from that con, and within a few days, I'll be like, well, that guy's in Baltimore. Clearly, he found us in Baltimore and he's interested, and now he's in. So that I definitely see some direct sort of correlation. But as far as like, hey, I'm on Kickstarter and like figure out who we are, go over here, that pretty much never happens.
Yeah, I'm curious because we're putting a lot of resources into the store. I'm just sometimes questioning myself on if it's worth it, right? Because,
no, the store is worth it for sure. Like I have the web store that we've done for years. I have an eBay store that we use. I do live sales on Facebook where I will come on live and be like, here's the book, it's $10. Who wants it? All of that kind of stuff to me has value to me far more than like trying to chase eyeballs in territory that I don't even know if anyone cares that I exist, because at least then you're building your own internal infrastructure for it. And you can always say, here's our web store, go to it. Here's our eBay store, go to it, whatever it is, because and then it's eternally there. And really building a web store really doesn't cost that much either.
No, and my website is built off of WordPress and WooCommerce, integrates Stripe and Apple Pay and PayPal and something else on it. I forget what it was. Problem is when the website goes down, which is what happened to me 2 months ago, and I had to back it up for months, I think from April of last year. So that kind of fucking hurt. My back catalog ends up selling a lot during Kickstarters. I forget to turn off the sales when I'm running a campaign because people don't want to wait to the end of the Kickstarter for the books, so they'll pick it up early on the website. So that happens. And like Tom, after a convention, the people who would have tested me out at a con that want more will go to the website and they'll buy. I'll see an uptick after a convention is over.
Okay, so you do see good follow-ups after conventions.
So that I got some books. I got the higher margin books right on the front page, and then if you go into the actual store itself, you see a bunch of books in there.
And then how do you justify the different price points? Are these trades versus
those are the trades, yeah.
Those
are the trades. And then you go to the web store, break down digital, single issues, and trades, and then you can pick stuff up there.
And do you price your products differently when you're at the cons, or do you keep all the same?
No, there's just no shipping at the con.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll do con deals at cons to entice people in. You know, it'll be like, oh, these are normally $18 trades. We'll do them for $15. If they're buying like a ton of books, it's like, yeah, we'll work out a deal for you, because we want to do whatever we can to make new people take books home. That's a huge, massive.
And like some of the things that I'll sell at the con that are not on the website are like our packs of trading cards and stuff like that. You know, we'll have that because I can't justify the shipping charge. The shipping charge ends up being kind of more for the trading cards
Right.
on a website than anything else. You know, so we'll have more of the tchotchkes at the booth than just the books.
Got it. So do you, when you're in New York, do you feel like you sell mostly books, or do you also sell more of the
I
cards?
sell
and
the
all
kitchen
pins?
sink, bro.
Mm.
You know, since New York is home field advantage for us,
Mhm.
that we bring everything. There's nothing left at home, right? And because I'm not paying for lodging, because I'm not paying for travel expenses, I get more tickets, and that just goes to,
Nice.
you know, building a bigger team so we can capture more people. I got a gimmick. I'm not ashamed to say it. You know, we cause traffic jams. We'll find a cosplayer and we'll bring over to the booth or him to the booth, and we'll fumble. We're taking a picture of the cosplayer at the booth, and what that does is it buys time for other people to see that person, and they'll start to take pictures. And you know, moments later, we got a nice little traffic jam, and the team will start to cherry pick people. Right? Once they made eye contact, they're just going after them.
How in the world do you not just hire someone to be Betsy at your booth?
Because Betsy's new, brother.
I'll be Betsy. I'll
Who
be
cares
Betsy.
if she's
Jay.
new? You should have that this
I'll
year.
do it for you,
Be
man. As
happening.
a friend, new friend. I'll be
No,
Betsy.
Betsy's this here. Betsy is our mascot for our zombie book. She's the zombie of liberty. And
Like you can go to Spirit Halloween right now, get a Statue of Liberty costume right now, buy some zombie makeup, and
rip it up.
Bring her to the con, and you're golden.
Yeah, I'll get the wife to do that right now.
What you do when you're
everybody else,
outside,
like
your own
everybody
business.
else, I run lean. I run lean.
Yeah, but that's your attraction. That's your attraction, Jay. That's
How big's
your
your booth,
attraction.
Jay?
That's not some random dude pulled out of the thing. She's at your booth all the time. Or you can send her off into the crowd, shambling along, and be like, go to 1948.
I like the idea. There's still 3 weeks left. There's the possibility we can have
Doable.
That's all I'm saying. All right. The booth, I got a corner booth. I got a 6x8 corner booth upstairs in the small press area.
And how many years have you been running at the show?
So I want to say 12, 13. So I think the first 2 or 3 conventions for New York Comic Con were in February. They weren't in October. So the February ones I did not exhibit at. Once they started doing October, I was there straight up until the pandemic. Then the pandemic, I didn't do the first 2 after the pandemic.
Okay.
So last year was my first one back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And it's all your stuff. You don't sell other stuff. It's all
Yeah,
your.
no, all the stuff that we
your
publish,
label.
brother.
Okay.
See,
That's
but we're
dope.
not just doing books. We do books, t-shirts, shot glasses, pins, original art, trading cards,
Nice.
mystery boxes.
All right, cool. This is my campaign is currently running. I started on Friday. Got 14 days left to go. I already funded, which is cool. But this is the Oswald Chronicles, Passing Queens and Making Homes, issues 1 through 6. And it's now in color. Originally, when it came out, it was in black and white. And now we've put it in color. So that's the difference with this series. We have covers by the original artist, Jade Gonzalez. And this is... Jesus Christ, I'm drawing a blank on my own artist. This is Donnie Hadijawa and Carlos Moreno Jr. So there you go, on colors. And the colorist on this book was David Montoya, good friend of mine. So, go check it out while there's still time. There's another 14 days. So there, I just wanted to put that in real quick. C, you got a question? I think C stepped away. Tom.
No, I'm here. I'm trying to unmute. So this is basically, I guess, for guys, publishers, or if you have multiple series. How long before you launch a second series after you launch your first one? Should you finish the first series and then launch a second one, or do you launch on top of each other? Which is the smart thing to do?
All right. Let's go. I don't know. It was all. Let's go with Scott. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, say that again. I had to cut out for a second.
I think I still have the app.
Oh, let's see. I think you want to ask the question again.
Okay. Basically, it's this. Before you launch a second series, especially if you're a publisher, should you finish the first series first and then launch, or when do you think is the best time to launch multiple series?
Well, it's a good question. You know, I've got two sort of ongoing series. My series Crime Busters, I'm working on issue 7 right now, and that'll be out, you know, in the spring. One of the reasons I actually launched Quest is because I wanted to have a second series that I could alternate a publishing schedule with. I mean, it's a story that I've wanted to tell for a long time, but for me, I was just getting the sense that my audience for Crime Busters was maybe getting a little bit burnt out because I was putting out just that so much. So I thought if I got Quest with a completely different audience, then my audience wouldn't sort of get tired out because I would be alternating between two like sort of different groups. So for me, I don't think you need to finish one series before you start the next one. You just need to be aware if you're going to do that, that you're kind of starting over. I mean, I have like a handful of, you know, people that came over from Crime Busters because they're just fans of my work, but there's very little crossover appeal between the two properties. And so it's basically like starting from the ground level.
Right.
And you know, it's worked out. I do have like a new audience with Quest that comprised mostly of people that were not buying my books before. So it's just, I guess in a way, it's just a matter of what you're trying to accomplish by launching a new series.
Okay.
All right, cool. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've got 3 currently ongoing with Amor Patrice and Enra Blood and Fire. Well, its sequel now, Ice and Bone. I'm actually looking at starting the 4th one next year, depending on how Amor Patrice, if it funds, it might push the other ones back. But they're all kind of slightly different. So a lot of the people who like Blood and Fire, which is, you know, a samurai, little bit of horror into it, not so much kind of into, you know, straight in supernatural horror. So there's, I would say, a good 25% have kind of jumped over because they like the, you know, like the artwork, like my storylines. But if they're not like into the storyline, it's like starting from scratch, like Scott said. You know, you're looking for a new audience, which I think is my kind of problem with Amor Patrice, is that I'm not tapping into that, you know, supernatural horror, you know, love fest that everyone, you know, I'm trying to find that Facebook group that they all seem to be there, and I haven't found it yet. But I'm hoping my next one, which is like a a science fiction horror, so Aliens, Event Horizon kind of vibe. So fingers crossed. But yeah, it's very difficult. Starting that first issue is hell because you're really fighting to find the audience. Well, I find anyway.
All right, fair enough. Carl, what are your thoughts?
Like how much time you put in between the campaigns?
Well, I think it's when you start actually a new project.
Yeah.
Right.
Like working on it or marketing?
No, like marketing it. Let's say, okay, you've just launched issue 1 of Super Savers, right? But now you want to you also have another series that you want to launch, issue 1 of Crime Fighters, right? Should you finish the 4-issue arc of Super Savers before you launch Crime Fighters? Or do you go ahead, you got Super Savers 1 out, it's okay to go ahead and launch Crime Fighters 1, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's the right way to do it or not, but like I mentioned, we kind of think we try to do things a little differently. So the way we think about our Kickstarters are more like arcs. So when we do our books with our creators, we do issues of 6 at a time. So we'll sign them for 6, we'll finish all 6, and then we'll market and launch the first 3 as the first arc. And then that's for one title at a time. And then we haven't decided if we're going to do a follow-up Kickstarter for each of them that would share issues 4 through 6, or we're going to go jump straight to graphic novel. So that's TBD. But then in between the different campaigns, so far we've tried, we did around 6 months. Oh, no, actually, yeah, about 9 months this last time. But I think we're going to try to give it about 6 months, because I do feel like for us at least, there's a lot of repeat customers, and you kind of need to let it breathe, because a lot of what we do is not just promoting during the campaign, but the months leading up to it. Because one of the things I know for a fact is having more followers before you open your campaign gives it that algorithm bump in the beginning. And I think that's kind of what's been helping us hit our goals really quickly. Outside of that, I feel like it's really hard to grow those numbers. So I've watched a few and studied a few other pretty successful Kickstarter companies, and they all kind of make sure they have a solid amount of followers, and then when they launch, you definitely see the difference. Like, it really keeps the momentum throughout the campaign. But this time around, we thought we did everything right, but for some reason, the last week of the campaign, there was as many like people dropping off, canceling their campaigns, canceling their pledges, as much as there were new pledgings coming in. So the only thing I can equate that to is the economy, because it was around the tax season when it was ending, and I literally had friends that emailed me and apologized about, yo, man, I didn't know how to pay this bill, and they canceled their pledge. And so we're definitely also figuring out like the whole offering side of things. We didn't offer digital this time because we want to, in a way, train our customers or even experiment to see if they're willing to pay a higher price point in order to get that book itself. So I don't know. So we kind of probably left like $900 on the table. But in retrospect, we wonder if those people would have been great like promoters of the content. So yeah, that's kind of the way I'm thinking. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but we're still experimenting. But the hope is to close that window for as to be short as possible. But kind of like what Jay was saying earlier, he did 5 Kickstarter, and he said 2 or 3 was a challenge. And so for me, sometimes I think about, is it worth spending that extra energy into promoting some of these things if they're not guaranteed to win? So those are the challenges I'm coming up against, where I'm like, all right, how do I measure time, because that's our most valuable resource. So if I'm not, is the time more valuable just sit back and wait and like gather those followers for the next campaign, or is that time better used to just launch the next campaign? So we're constantly measuring and assessing what's the best for our next steps.
Okay.
And do you have like a finite date that you look at to launch, or do you wait until you have like a certain amount of followers before you launch?
We have a date, but we also keep it a little flexible. So first of all, I'll never launch something like in August going into September again, because that whole tax thing was really bad. Because we ended on the week of like when tax was due, like September 15th or something like that, which is like the worst time to end the campaign, because we literally saw people canceling like crazy. Second is, I don't think the holidays are good to compete with. So after October, if you don't get your campaign to close in October, then I wouldn't launch anything until the next year. And then January, everyone is just tired and catching up with life, so forget it. So our next goal is going to be February.
I'm so glad that I'm next, because everything that Carl just said, I'm the opposite of. This is going to be really interesting. Yeah. Not everything. Like he has good points, but he has good points. But like everything that you just talked about, like right in that little blurb, I've used to think similar things. Well, let me go back to the question first, and then let's talk about what Carl just talked about, because that's important, the holidays and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I'm a little different because, the question really has different sort of parameters, because it really depends. Like, are you just making comics and putting them out? Are you doing Kickstarters, in which case you have to kind of have this gap of time and so on? Like for me, when we started comics, I put out 2 books in our first year. Critter and Penny for Your Soul both launched the same year that we did it. The following year, both series were running. And then 2010, 2000, and then at the end of that second year, we launched a 3rd book. So going through our 3rd year, we had 3 books running. By the end of that year, we launched another one. But we were just doing comics and putting them out through Diamond. So there was a point where we were doing anywhere between 2 to 4 books a month, and we were just putting them out through Diamond.
Okay. Yeah.
But in the context of crowdfunding, now I have all these titles that I've done, and I have a bit of a quandary because I've got like 11 or 12 different titles, but I can't be Pat Shand and run these things, all at the same time. So what we've done is, so in my brain, the answer to your question is if you start a book, number 1, and you drop it, the answer is not to do another number 1 right behind it. Because the people that did that first number 1 are now going to have a longer waiting period to get to the number 2, right? So what I would say is, let's say you're going to have a 4-issue miniseries for that first volume, right? Whatever it is. I would say do at least 2, then drop a new book, and then come back right away to those next 2. Like finish, like assuming you're going to do it all in a year, finish that 4-issue arc within that year. Or 5 issues or whatever it is, because the longer you make those people wait to come back to a certain title, the more apt they have, the more time they have to just dissipate and be like, well, I guess that's gone, whatever it is. So for me, that's where I am right now. I'm in this really awkward position where I have like 11 titles. How do I do this? And so what we've done is now we've taken advantage of where we stand, because we've had these now 10-year anniversaries. You had the 10-year anniversary for us in 2020. 10 years of Penny, 10 years of Critter. We kind of focused on that. The following year was 10 years of Oz. We focused on Oz. Year after that, Ursa Minor, we focused on that. But even as we focused sort of primarily on those books, we would spread them out a little bit so that we could drop a couple of little things in along the way. So everybody knew that they were going to get this complete story arc for Oz or Ursa Minor or whatever it was within the year. But we would then drop in a little thing here, a little thing there, a little thing here, a little thing there to kind of, keep the brand alive, all of the brands alive. And in fact, we even do an anthology now where we have 3 stories from just, let's do one from here, one from here, one from here. That way, whatever we're focusing on is not in that anthology. And then that anthology gives the readers of those books a little taste while they're waiting for the next big arc to come around. So I think the basic idea that I'm trying to say is I see a lot of guys that are like, here's a number 1 of the book, and then here's another 1 of another book. Like, here's another number 1 of another book. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what do you keep getting further away from these guys that spent money from you in January, and now you're in October and you haven't done number 2 for them. So I think that's a problem, or at least it could be potentially a problem. Just sort of in the long run, because I think, again, people lose track of it. People are, well, I guess they're not doing anymore, like whatever it happens to be. So that's kind of where I would come at. I don't think there's a right or wrong, but if you're doing crowdfunding specifically, and you're not,
that's what I was thinking.
And you're not planning to be a Pat Shand guy where you're just going, I would focus on something and then drop something new in kind of in the middle of it. So that then when you're done with whatever that is, like 2 issues, something new, 2 issues, wrap it up. Then you go back to number 2 of whatever that is, and you focus on that for, a few issues, drop in something new, finish it, come back. Just try and finish as quick as you can while dropping in the little nugget of whatever's going to be new.
Right. Okay. Yeah, my thought was about like the Kickstarter crowds. So
sure, which is what we all do, and so we have to kind of adjust for that kind of stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
All right, Mr. J, what are your thoughts?
I want to agree 100% with Tom. Unfortunately, sometimes creators can't hit their due dates, so I have to slide in the project that may be finished earlier than the other project. That's just the case, I would love to be all right every 3 weeks, bang, 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 bang. But then I'm also not working with a war chest where I could pay everybody to finish their books in that timely manner at the same time. So the best laid plans are always up for grabs. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm not even saying like do it a monthly thing. I'm just saying like let's say you launch one in January
quarterly,
and then do one in March, right? For the same series. Then in May, drop a new thing, and then come back 2 months later to the previous, so you're on number 3 then, and then you're doing number 4 at the end of the year.
Right.
So I'm not even trying to create like do a monthly thing, do a whatever. Just however you do it, as long as they know when it's coming, that's really the key. Like if you have every 2 months, every 3 months, just tell them, hey, we're in January, next one comes in March, next one, whatever. Then in the brain, the buyers are like, okay, I got to be ready for March, I got to be ready for May.
sometimes
Problems can still happen, certainly,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
not insinuating that everybody should run into like a monthly schedule.
I thought I was running into a bi-monthly schedule. You could go into last year's, streams, and I was talking about how we had everything lined up from that point on to September 2025. Did that blow up in my face, right? And I still got people that haven't turned in work for over a year, right? And there goes my fucking revenue stream, right? And there went the war chest, the operating capital, right? And here I am, flat on my face, not being able to promote when the book is coming out because I don't even know when this guy's finishing it.
Sell Galactus.
Never let it be said Tom is not a wise man.
We're never gonna get rid of Galactus, buddy.
Yeah, we're always picking Jay's chops over his Galactus. So
I don't own a lake. I don't own 7 houses and queens, right? I don't got the money you guys got. I wish.
All right. Can we talk about the stuff that Carl brought up? Because he brought up some interesting points.
Yeah, let's go.
I want to run over him because a lot of what you said, I often heard the same thing, and in some cases, I'm a student of Kickstarter. Like I watch sort of trends and the weird things that are happening. It's weird right now, and it was weird last year, and it's weird again. But some of the specifics were timing around holidays and such. Now, I don't buy into that at all in any capacity. Used to be that people talked about Thanksgiving and sort of Christmas periods are going to be wonky. But over the last few years, I've watched people come in that are now, the caveat is they are people that have been doing this for a while, like a Pat Shan, for example. It's not just somebody coming in like, hey, I'm just going to do something in December, but like guys that have a following, that have an audience that are like, I want your stuff. They have been coming into this space in November and December regularly now with projects and doing equal numbers. Like they're not seeing drop-offs, right?
Makes sense.
So for me, I kind of did the same thing. I was like, let me try this and see what happens. And we did this a couple of times with Princesses versus Zombies that would run over Thanksgiving period. We didn't go into December yet, but we did over Thanksgiving. And we've seen no loss of backers. We've seen no loss of money within that, using that month. October used to be sort of like and again, this is all just my experience. I'm just telling you what I've experienced. October used to be sort of our deadline. Let's do October and then we'll leave those 2 months out. But I started to watch people just hit it out of the park. One of the reasons is because everybody assumes it's not going to work. So the amount of projects drops down. So you can easily be the big fish in the small pond in those periods of time, which then leads to January. Everybody's
Tom, can I just say something real quick? Because
Sure.
you're wrong. Don't launch in December. You guys are gonna fail completely. But the Oswald Chronicles will be up. So.
He's the canary in the coal mine, right?
So then that brings to January.
Just
and
edit
January,
edit all this out.
Yeah, January is the most
Edit all this
interesting
out.
one because, like Carl said, people are tired. They don't want to do another one. I'm giving the secret away. That's why you want to be in January,
Yeah.
All the people that
No
I
one
see
else was
launching in
doing stuff.
January, and
Yeah.
I launch in January all the time,
Mm.
and it is gangbusters in January.
Uh,
And it
People
could be
still
because
get
people are
Christmas
coming
money.
out of Christmas with
Yeah.
Christmas
Okay.
bonuses, or
Yes.
they got
Gift
money
cards.
from grandma, whatever it is. But again, the campaign amounts, however many are existing, are super low. You can be the big fish in the big pond, or the big fish in the small pond, and I will never not launch in January. Never. But people are afraid of it. They're just, for whatever reason, people are afraid of it. People are afraid of being around 4th of July. People are afraid of being around Thanksgiving, Christmas stuff, which is all things that I believed as well. But I have seen them debunked again with people that have built some sort of a following
Yes,
in an audience.
that's
That's the caveat.
Yeah, you
Don't
got
think
an
that you're
audience.
just don't just think that you're coming in and you're just going to skate around. But
Mhm.
if you are in that space in those times, even if you are new, again, the campaign levels are way down. Now, here's the weird part. There has been a very specific ebb and flow of Kickstarter since 2020. It has been spring and summer have been monumental amounts of campaigns happening from like April-ish down to like, August-ish. Well over 300 campaigns live at any given time. That's not happening anymore. This year specifically, well, last year it all changed. Last year, the spring summer went down. It wasn't crashing, but it went down. Incidentally, the average is about 250 a month at any given time. But at the end of the last year, all of a sudden we got to August and it spiked. And it had never done this before. It was the opposite spike. So October and November, now we're seeing a huge spike. We're back up well over 300 campaigns live right now. That happened last year. I was like, what is this? Then we got to January. January was normal. The campaigns went right back down well below 200, so way off the average.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we got to the end of February and into March, there was a huge bubble and it went poof. And there was like 300 campaigns again for like 6, almost 8 weeks. But
So
then that
I-
went away. And then through the entire spring and summer, all the way down till we got to this bump here, we never really were much higher than 250 through all of the spring and summer of this year. So it flattened. And now we're seeing spikes in the holiday periods for November, October, November, December, and then like in that spring. So, what does all this information mean? Nothing. It means, don't be afraid of the platform, I think is what it means, right? If you are ready to go in January, do it in January. If you are ready to go at tax time, do it. If you are ready to go at 4th of July, do it. And the other thing is that people often get worried about like, well, Brian Polito is launching it doesn't matter. His buyers are not buying from you. Sorry, you will never convert more than, 0.5% of those people to buy your book. Even my stuff, I have a very small percentage of crossover with Brian Polito. So don't be afraid of the other campaigns thinking like, well, I'm not going to make it because there's, Tom's there and these guys are, it doesn't matter. You have to sort of take control of your own audience and drag them in kicking and screaming from other places. And then of course there is the highest amount of regular traffic on Kickstarter than there is on any other crowdfunding platform. Indiegogo, Fund My Comic, Crowdfunder, whatever. Kickstarter has the largest active user base that just goes there to see what's going on. Like, you can drag people again. If you want to do Indiegogo, you can say, we're on Indiegogo, drag people over there. But there's no one on Indiegogo that cares that you're there. Whereas on Kickstarter, there are people who are actively looking for what's here.
Yeah.
Show me what's here. And that's why Kickstarter works better than the other platforms. That is not to say don't use the other ones. Certainly, go ahead. But everyone should be focused Kickstarter first, and then use the others as sort of a backup system. Second chances. A lot of people use them for second chances. Hey, you missed it out, but we're going to go to Fund My Comic, and you can get it here for a few more weeks, or whatever it is. And now BackerKit is doing crowdfunding now, not
They
just.
are. I was going to ask you about
surveys.
that. Your November campaign was on BackerKit.
No,
right?
no, I have not
No?
used BackerKit. They are chasing me
Okay.
down like wild dogs, and I keep telling them,
Oh.
why would I move? You have not given me any answer as to why I should move. And he even told me in the last time. He's like, well, it's been shown that you can go wherever you want. Look at Dynamite. They just go, and I'm like, no, patently false. Because when I did my book for Dynamite, by the way, they did $11,000 in 2 months, and I had backers that back my stuff. I said, hey, I'm working for Dynamite. Go buy that book. They were like, I won't use Indiegogo. Period. We then took that campaign, threw it on Kickstarter. We did 11,000 in 2 weeks. I said,
I
listen,
saw that. That's cool.
Yeah. I said, listen, man, and this is the other thing that I told him. I was like, I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong, bad, that I'm indifferent to it. I'm watching, but I don't see anybody using it. I don't see anybody talking about it. So if I'm going to move over there and I have to drag all of my people over there, which there's no way I get 100% move over, you better have some sort of wild audience reaction over there of people that are going to be like, yo, what is this? Tom's here, because Kickstarter has that and no one else has that. So that's what I asked him. I was like, what is the advantage to me to moving there? Is it cheaper? Do I get more visibility? Is it a better search engine? Do you have the ability for me to make a campaign and turn those things into add-ons with the click of a button, which Kickstarter still is not doing? Do you have any advantages for me to move myself and my people over there? And
are they going to open up their mailing list to you?
Yeah, right, exactly. Why should I go? Why is it better there? And I get no answers. So BackerKit for right now for me is just, I use those for surveys and that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to be like running over there and being like, well, this is the new thing.
Yeah. To answer your question, see, for myself, I think as a creative, I think for myself, it's when it comes to me. It's like when I feel, I've done Oswald for a minute, Tall Tales for a minute. And that's why I was like, I came to you, what is it, about a year and a half ago? It was like, you want to do Magi's Grace. And, we got that situation. And we were like, okay, let's, we started working on that. And now I'm working on Dreamweavers because it's something that I just want to complete. Right. So it's like, okay, I feel now is the time that I do it and, it'll be all right. So yeah, I mean, as a creative, it's when I feel ready, right? I mean, as weird as that sounds, because I don't, the whole marketing thing, I don't concern myself with it because, like I said, I'm a hobbyist. So it's all about creation and, feeding my own ego, at this point. So, and listen, it's what I enjoy doing, and funny, I don't know if this is true for anybody else. If I'm not running a campaign, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. It feels like I'm standing. Like it feels like
if that's your sales platform and you're not really selling anywhere else, then 100%.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I had a question for the whole panel, for the whole crew. So at Baltimore, there was a dude who literally pulled me aside and lectured me for like 15 minutes. And his lecture comprised of, hey, I see what you're doing. I love what you guys are doing. But you guys are on Kickstarter. Carl, you're from LA. I'm from Baltimore. I don't buy from your comic book shop like you don't buy from mine. So why would you have to only run this on Kickstarter? Why aren't you bringing this on Indiegogo? Why aren't you bringing on this to BackerKit? Why are you? And I was like, well, I have to pick, the best, kind of like what Tom was saying. I have to go where like the traffic is. And he's like, no, why can't you just run the Kickstarter and then run a Fund My Comics and then run a crowdfunder?
You
and
can.
Like, man, that seems like a lot of work. Do you guys do that? I mean, just super curious. Have you guys done that before?
I don't do it, but I know a lot of people that do it. Here's why you don't do it. This is the only reason you don't do it. Okay. Is that when you do a second chance on another campaign or on another platform, the odds of you really getting any sort of ROI for the time that you're talking about, the work and effort.
Yeah, the time's the most important. One is worth the time.
Yeah, it's very, very, very minimal. Like I know guys who do like 20 grand on a Kickstarter. They'll take it over to Indiegogo as a second chance, and they'll do a few $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever see. I've never seen a second chance on a different.
Not worth the time.
Yeah,
My question is this: that sounds like a good idea to point him towards your store. You don't want to buy from Kickstarter? That's okay. We have a store.
Yeah, buy
That's
from
kind
the
of what
store.
my thinking is now.
100%.
Yeah, it's the store itself. Because I just feel like
Yeah.
it'd be a pain in the butt to run like 4 campaigns, and I don't think it's gonna be worth the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Just
plus
don't
all the
keep them both
platforms
the
work
same.
differently. So it's not like you can
Exactly.
just import it and be like, there it is.
Right.
You have to make new images and stuff.
Yeah, and that's really the tough part. Is like, it's like, okay, if you have 15 levels or 20 levels of rewards plus the add-ons, right? And then do you want to do a new video, right? And then do you want to make new graphics and do all that stuff over again? And it's like Tom said, if the specs are different, you got to go back into Photoshop, readjust everything, and it's just more time you're spending on it. If you could just drag and drop, that would be convenient.
Yes.
If you could just import the old one from someplace else here, and just dump it in, then that would be cool. But none of them work like that.
So so the answer is
Well,
yes, you
it's
can do
nice-
it.
well,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
100%.
nice
You
that
can do it.
Kickstarter
It's-
can.
Go ahead, Aaron. I keep
I mean,
cutting you off. Go ahead.
yes. Sorry. Well, it's nice that Kickstarter has actually allowed you to import old rewards. So if you do have a continuation series, you can import rewards from the previous issue into the new one. It would be nice if it's a lot more streamlined and easier, but at least that's an option where if you're going to go to another platform, you have to start everything again.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it on Indiegogo for Blood and Fire. I'm never doing it again. It was just a waste of time.
Right. Yeah. I've done some Indiegogos. I've made a little bit of money, but it is a completely different crowd. Completely different crowd. You got to go different types of shows. A lot of them more. If you focus probably more on Twitter than on, let's say, Facebook. But it's a completely different crowd. If you can get in, it's good. But getting in is the tough part.
To be completely honest with you, I forget Indiegogo's a thing because I don't ever hear about it anymore.
No
It's not
one
like it
uses
used
it
to be.
anymore.
It's
The
dead,
I haven't
right?
heard about it
It's
in
pretty
years.
dead.
Yeah.
I don't hear
The
about it at
only-
all.
Yeah, the only platform that I see anyone getting traction with is Fund My Comic. Is the only one that I hear any sort of like success stories with. But again, those aren't second chance offers. They're literally using that as their starting point versus Kickstarter. So they're able to drag their customers over and be like, this is where we do it. And they've had success there. So, I keep asking, like, well, you can't do this on Kickstarter and maybe get more because there's a larger, user base for the platform. And they're like, well, this is just where we are. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's fine. But that for anyone who's asking, that is the only one that I've seen that has any sort of legitimate like foothold as to being a potential viable candidate in any capacity.
All right, cool. C, do you want to answer your own question or are you good?
No, I think. I kind of agree with Tom on this. At least get two issues out of one series before you decide to launch another one. Make them, let people know that you're actually going to finish a story before you start another one. Because then you end up like early. Well, we won't mention that other '90s company, but where they had a whole bunch of number ones and everybody just disappeared. So you don't want to end up. Yeah,
Which '90s company is it? There's a bunch of them.
Oh no, you know which one we're talking about.
Oh,
The one, the one that made their money off of one. And then
Name it. Name it. This is what we do here.
no,
What
we're
are we
good.
talking
this
about?
is Image. This is straight up Image. This is what the problem they had with Image is people were making a whole bunch of money off of number ones, and then they couldn't get their creators together again to make another one because they were making more money in one number one issue than they were in
Well, sure, but that was also a completely different world of
Oh, yeah,
speculation.
absolutely.
And, they played the speculator game and they played it perfectly. And that's all they were worried about. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, true.
There's a
But
comment on Instagram coming in, and I'm sorry, the Instagram's feed is not going directly to the the StreamYard. But one of the comments on Instagram is, "How do you all feel about the app Whatnot?" Right, this is coming from Savvy Designs. Does that platform help you with your business in any way?
That is the business in this
never heard
stuff,
of
from
it.
what I hear. Some guys are like deep in it and they just sell a ton of stuff. But from what I hear, it's getting hammered by eBay Live. Because
eBay Live is going to demolish it. But
Very cool.
Whatnot is conceptually good, but it's all based on hype. All of it is based on hype. You have to drive again. You have to drive people there. You have to create hype for your product. It's all most of the time you'll go in and watch those things and they'll be like, "Hey, we're giving away free things and free things." I'm like,
Right.
"Are you like selling anything? Like,
Yeah,
what's going on here?
This is weird for Whatnot, but Carl, were you at New York Comic Con in 2018 or 2019?
I was at both. Yeah.
All right. So do you remember Whatnot had a big a boxing ring on the center floor, in the
I
center
don't
room,
remember that.
and they were doing live Whatnots at New York Comic Con, but announcing it like it was a primetime fight. And
That's hilarious.
so they know how to generate attraction,
Yeah.
right? How to generate engagement, but on a regular basis, I don't know. I know
They raised a ton of money. They did really well over pandemic. They killed it.
Yeah.
It is a hustle, K-pop, except that, like, for example, if you go to, I mean, it's always a hustle, certainly, but if you're doing a lot, for example, I do a lot of live Facebook stuff, and that just goes right directly to my people. My people all get a notice. Hey, Tom's live. What's he doing? He's selling books. He's talking. He's whatever. So I would much rather just talk directly to the people that are following me than attempt to tap into a market that doesn't give a shit about what I do. Like, most of the time you'll see that guys, it's like, hey, we're selling J. Scott Campbell, we're selling Jim Lee, we're selling, whatever. And there is some stuff like Scout is on there. They do a lot of stuff on there, Scout Comics. But again, it's all just based on hype at the bottom of it. It's just all hype. You have to build this, oh my God, we have to go over there and get the thing. It's like, oh my God. And when you do that, they're only there for that. They're not going to other people's channels. They're like, hey, let's just see what else is on Whatnot. You have to build that, in for yourself.
Right. The thing is, how do you convert those first timers into repeat consumers? Right. I mean, in business, it's harder to retain a customer than it is to get a new one.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, I think we kind of hammered this subject. So look, I got something for you guys. Just a couple days ago, it was announced Marvel and DC have lost their trademark to superheroes.
Yeah.
Something that they've had a stranglehold on for years. How do you guys feel about that? I'm just curious.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Couldn't give two shits.
I mean, are we suddenly going to see a bunch of books that just say superhero? Like, I mean, it's just not relevant.
I had one guy come
Was
on.
it a shared trademark that they had? Like, what's the context? I don't even know what that.
Oh, it's a long
pretty
story.
much. That's
It's a
exactly
long-
it. Shared.
Long, dumb story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one guy on. He was in a lawsuit with them, and he was
Oh, I
the only
remember that.
reason he dropped the lawsuit was because he was going through a divorce. So he was just like, look, I got to focus on that, and I can't focus on this. But he did settle with them, and he ended up being able to use the term superheroes for his books. Right. So, I mean,
How's he doing now with his books?
Huh?
How's he doing now with his books?
I have no idea. I haven't spoken to him in a minute.
Right.
I'd have to get in touch with him. But Jay, I mean, because you do superhero books.
I do a lot of superheroes, and funny enough, not being able to use the term, whatever, superheroes has forced me to be more creative, call them something else. Develop another catchphrase that I've been utilizing, that I've been building upon. So I don't feel the need to go back to it. People can call me superheroes. I can say that part of my catalog falls under the superhero genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
just
but it's not in
superhero
my
is something you just aren't supposed to be able to put like in a title. Basically, it's like a trademark, But for me, for years upon years now, I've always called Critter at the top of the book the second best superhero comic book in the universe. So I've used it forever with no repercussions.
They just
Not that I matter. I mean, I'm over here selling 1,000 units. Who cares? But
they didn't get around to you.
yeah, right.
That's all that is.
I ducked, dipped, ducked, dodged, and ducked, or whatever it is.
They're too busy. They're too busy getting sold to different companies. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
They've crushed a lot of people under that one. So, Tom, real quick, you got a question?
Nope. I have spoken more than enough.
Hey, that
tonight,
was real
so.
quick.
Yeah, quick enough.
The superhero question went quick, didn't it? How do you feel about using it, man?
Exactly. That was a quick one. All right, listen. Jay, you got another one?
I got nothing. Yeah, I got
Oh,
nothing.
come on now.
Oh, you see it? Oh, I got everybody fired up in the beginning, right? Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to get those juices flowing. And it wasn't for me to knock anybody. There was no wrong answer.
Okay, I got a question for fun since we don't have a lot of time left.
Go.
I bought a toy the other day and I took a picture of it and I really like it and I'm going to show it to you right now. Dun, dun, dun. It is a little mini,
Oh, cool.
little mini AT-AT from the Playmates,
the Fisher Price one.
line. So the post that I made on this is that the AT-AT was, is, and always will be the greatest piece of science fiction machinery ever created.
Ah.
Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Not-
And if you
you're not
disagree,
wrong.
what do you think is better than the AT-AT?
Mm.
In Star Wars or
In general, just in science
general.
fiction. Yeah. Is there a better piece of cool looking design than that?
I really love the in June the transport ship. You know, in the new one where you see it over the planet,
You're
you
right.
see all you see at the ground level that all the troops go into these transport ships, and then they take off, and they're like that small compared to the navigator ships. I mean, I was a bit disappointed they never showed the inside or what the navigators look like, but that ship, yeah, that's kick-ass. Loved it.
Tom, are we talking iconic status, or are we talking about design?
Whatever you like. Is there something that in your brain you're like, that's a fucking great piece of design, you know? I know you're going to say Megaforce.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's the grail for many toy collectors, which is the GI Joe aircraft carrier, the USS Flag.
Sure, that's a cool
Right.
thing. Yeah, but
Not
it's just an
everybody had
aircraft
it.
carrier. It's not a unique item.
Right, it's
Not a unique design.
item.
I mean, yeah.
You know, but then you got iconic would be the Millennium Falcon out of Star Wars, right?
good.
Even though
Good.
the X-wing, more kids would have had the X-wing than anything.
Yeah, but I don't mean necessarily just the toy. Like, what's the best thing that exists in a science fiction thing? Like the Millennium Falcon is cool. Star Destroyers are cool.
Yeah.
I would still put the AT-AT above that in design.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Batmobile, but it's been re-engineered,
Yeah,
so you can't say one iconic thing stands out.
the animated Batmobile, kick-ass.
The animated Batmobile is good. You know, I mean, damn, the 18 van. You know,
That's tough. This is tough
You're
one.
just
That's a good
stuck
one.
on these cars, dude. You
I
think
am.
the 18
I'm
van is
trying to
better
put
than
more-
this?
Because you know what, the starships from Buck Rogers didn't pop for me. The starships from Battlestar Galactica didn't pop for me.
Well, I've got something here. I'm dating myself a little bit.
Go.
But the space battleship Yamato. Now I know that it,
Oh,
you know, it looks like a World War II battleship,
Yeah.
but it's got the wave motion gun in the front.
Oh.
That was my favorite cartoon when I was a kid with Star Blazers.
Well,
So-
see, I would take that to the next level for me would be the Macross. That to me
I
is a
was about
better
to say that. Yes,
thing.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robotech, Macross, Transformers. Right. That one design that had three forms: the plane, the moth, and then the robot.
Mhm. The Gunstar from
What's the Gunstar?
that's from 80s movie.
Yeah. See.
Drawing a blank.
Clearly
Right.
awesome.
No. If I mention the movie, you're gonna know the movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't place it either.
I don't know. Either.
Isn't it like Enemy Mine or something?
No, it's not Enemy Mine. It's
And-
same time period.
The Last Starfighter.
The Last Starfighter.
Oh, that's what I. Yeah, that's what.
Oh, that was good. That
Yeah,
was
that-
good.
Look, no, I looked it up, so don't act like I knew that. I had to look it up.
Okay, but that's what it was. That's what it was last.
But was the Gunstar better than the Robotech, the Macross ship? The Valkyrie, right? What was that called? It was called the Valkyrie 1 or something like that.
No, I think it is the Macross. The battleship.
The SDF-1 is the American term. Macross is the Japanese term for the
Right.
ship.
Oh, for that ship. I thought
Yep.
Macross was the Japanese term for the series.
Well, it's the Macross Saga, which it's about the Macross ship.
Gotcha.
But in America, it was called the SDF one.
I mean, you know, just to go a little different, I have to say Moya from Farscape, because it was a bio-engineered ship. It had no weapons, and its only self-defense was just taking off, and well, it would just take off, and it was and wherever you landed, that's where you were at. Like there was just like it was like, oh, when I'm in trouble, it would just warp.
I like it, JD, but is it stronger in design than the AT-AT?
Yeah, I would in design. Yeah, I think
so. I don't think so,
Yeah.
dude.
I love the.
Well,
AT-AT,
you know,
but I would-
actually, you know what I think is stronger in design is the alien spaceships from War of the Worlds, the 1950s movie.
The saucer?
Not the saucer, the ones that look like manta rays.
with the legs. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The ones that look like manta rays. I actually really, really like those.
well, I was gonna say
I mean, I thought. Sorry, go.
Voltron. You know, got the 5 lions.
Okay.
The
Voltron.
Lions are
Lions
classic. That's
and
Good
classic.
call. Good call, Scott.
Oh well, wow. If we're gonna go into anime, I would call Dangaio before any of those.
See, no,
Dangaio is a different type of robot. That's a whole different anime. So
see, I would say Messenger, but it's not as iconic as the fucking AT-AT. Fuck.
well, he said good design, right? Did you say?
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like, what's the best designed
Design.
thing?
He's
Like
not-
the
he's not
Shogun
talking
Warriors
about-
are very cool, very cool.
Right.
I like them. But again, some of that stuff, like the robots, it's just sort of people, right?
There you
It's
go.
like
Yeah, that is just a
here's a
robot
person.
dog.
There's plenty of robot people and
It's a robot
things.
dog.
Well, no, we know exactly what it is because Family Guy told us they're giant robot camels.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
they are.
There you go.
No, I got a
But if you're
t-shirt
going anime,
for-
I love the bike in Akira. That design is amazing. Love that bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, somebody on last week was like that was his jam.
That was his jam. Yeah.
X-wing is better. I like the X-wing. I do. A lot more people had the X-wing than had an AT-AT. You know, I didn't get an AT-AT. I did not get an AT-AT until the 90s, right? The second release.
Well,
Jay,
I mean-
do you know why you didn't have one?
So I was
Because
poor.
I had 3.
that's terrible.
Dude.
That's terrible. But
Hoarder.
if we're talking about Star Wars, I liked the silver transport ships from like the first and second movie. Those were just beautiful.
Yeah, the royal
Yeah, the
ships.
royal ones. Yeah. Those were. I mean, as far
I
as
like
design goes,
Mandalorians.
Oh, the sleek
ori-
one.
original
Yeah,
ship.
yeah, the Mandalorian ship. Yeah.
Yeah, the Star Destroyers are great.
Yeah,
I was about to say,
Yeah.
I know that they're barely in the movies, but I actually like the design of the Y-wing better than I like the X-wing.
I like the Y-wing.
Yeah, the
I like
Y-wings.
the Y-wing. Yeah.
And I don't know how deep you guys go, but the B-wing is a wild ship,
It
right?
is.
So you've got the cockpit here, and then like the
Oh,
ship goes here,
Yeah.
but the cockpit
cool.
never moves. The ship moves
It moves
around the
around.
cockpit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I would say then in the third series, that took the style from the B-wing but just became the bomber.
The TIE bomber.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, that the twin sisters were driving.
Yeah, no, just for that.
What do you mean no?
Anything from Last Jedi is a no.
Uh,
just
Stop.
Stop.
Fuck, I'm trying to find a vehicle, dude. And
We've had some good answers.
we've had some
There's
good-
some some very good answers. Yeah.
I mean,
I
gentlemen.
mean, iconic. Yeah, the alien ship.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Awesome.
Yeah, the weird horseshoe thing.
Yeah.
Or even what was it called? The Sulaco from the
What's
was that
that?
the second movie? That was that the battleship that the Marines
Yeah,
came
the
in.
Sulaco.
Yeah, with all the
Oh,
The
antenna
okay.
arrays and stuff.
Oh,
on
so
it.
then for that how about the tank that they were driving?
Yeah, the APC.
I think it was pretty cool.
Right, that was based off of a Swiss.
But or
It was a Swiss
that was-
airport.
It's an
it was
airport
an
mover.
airport.
It's an airport
Yes.
mover.
Yeah, the tug.
Moves
Yes.
the planes around. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. It's been very fun discussing Geek Time.
Nice.
Man, God,
Great
you guys-
times, great
Listen,
times.
this goes back to Jay's show on Friday. How do you get engagement? You want to see how many posts we got from this?
Yeah, for that, yeah.
This is your engagement.
You're absolutely right.
This is true. All right, thank you very
Don't
much,
need to talk
gentlemen. This
about
was
comics.
awesome.
See, I didn't
Let-
like the Buck Rogers fighters.
Yeah, some of the bird one. Remember the hawk guy?
The Hawk guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had a nice shit.
he did.
Okay. All right, Aaron, where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me on Facebook. I have different Facebook groups for all my series. So just type in Anenra, Blood and Fire, Elmar Patrice. You can find me on Instagram as well. Rublevsky Aaron. I know it's hard to spell, but I'm on there.
All right,
Check us out.
cool.
Thank you.
Carl, where can we find you and your work, sir?
247comics.com, and all our social media is 247comics HQ.
All right, very good. Scott, where can we find you, sir?
Well, you can watch me talk about comics on my YouTube channel as the Classic Comic Collector. You can also check me out at crimebustercomics.com. That's my website, or questcomicsbook.com, which will redirect you to my Kickstarter. And I just wanted to mention, since Jay felt like we were being too humble, that Quest is currently live on Kickstarter, and it's the greatest work of fiction in the history
That's
of
my
humanity.
Fucking man, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah. Here we go.
Say that louder. Say that louder, Scott.
Everything our species has led up to is built to my Kickstarter. So,
Yeah.
with that in mind,
There you go.
it seems like such a good deal, doesn't it? So,
Keep it
yeah,
humble. Keep it humble.
currently live through the 18th.
Tolkien, who?
There you go. Damn right.
Sorry, George R. R. Martin, who? No.
Damn right.
Uh-huh.
He learned everything from you.
Tom, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Oh, Big Dog Inc., guys. Big Dog Inc. Anywhere you do your social media, you'll find us. We do most of our stuff on Facebook here. And if you're watching and you would like to have some more of this glorious trouble that I bring to these guys all the time, I am absolutely happy to do your show. And, whatever you want to talk about, I've got an opinion.
Yeah. C. Michael, where can they find you and your work, sir?
As always, you can check me out at landingart.com. If you're really into finding out more about me, you can check me out on Facebook because I'm more active on there. And also on Indie Comics Network on several shows like RSVP and the forthwith coming back Art Style Kamikaze. And who knows what else. Sometimes I just get bored. So
Very good. Very good. Mr. Rosario.
Yeah, I'm still trying to come up with an answer for Tom's question. Unstoppablecomics.com. You can find all of my social media links on that website. But in 3 weeks, we're going to be at New York Comic Con, booth 1948, Unstoppable Comics. We're going to have books, pins, posters, trading cards, premium cover books. We're going to have
Cosplay girls.
God, I don't know. I will be there with artist Andres Barrero. We'll be signing copies of Shield of the Interceptor or New York versus the World. He'll be doing sketch covers. You can put your orders in early for that stuff, and we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna party. Come on through booth 1948, Unstoppable Comics.
All right. And Jay, listen, if you can't find someone to do your cosplay Statue of Liberty, I would suggest you do it.
do it.
Yeah, okay.
I think you could do it.
Never mark out for your own stuff. That's all.
All right. Too late. I've already seen you do it. Too late. Anyway, so I'm JD Calderon. So
Thanks,
you check
JD.
me out on Facebook, Instagram, all these different places. Sunday nights right here. Next Tuesday, I'll be on with Rob Multuri on our show of Mice and Wolves, where we talk to creators about their issues and what we're going on. Currently have the Oswald Chronicles currently on Kickstarter. The greatest mouse adventure going today. So go check it out. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And don't forget, please check out the links. Check out the show notes. It has everybody's links. Click on those links. All of these creators, fantastic creators doing great books. Go pick up those books, man. These creators deserve your support. They're great creators. They're doing great books. Thank you so much, everybody. And don't forget, read more indie comics, buy more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night.
They're the best.
Yeah.